Kosher, I know Russia is now, that war that continues to seem to have no end, they've now withdrawn from an agreement to allow grain exports from Ukraine through the Black Sea. That deal would have, helped with global food prices. This conflict doesn't seem to be getting any better, and you've got people starving in places like Kenya and Ethiopia and Tunisia. It's pretty bad.
It is not getting better. I would say that this latest move shouldn't be surprising to anybody because we are in a conflict that is escalating. And as the Western sphere gets more and more involved and puts more and more pressure on the Russians, they are going to look at every tool in their toolkit to fight back, this just being the latest one. And I've made this point before that there is strategic asymmetry here in terms of how Russia views this war in its own self-interest versus how the Western sphere views this war in their self-interest, and that's where you're seeing a big disconnect between the leadership of those countries and their involvement versus what the public wants. I can certainly speak for the U.S., where support for this war and U.S. involvement is declining. So in the backdrop of that, Russia sees that, and I think this grain deal is just the latest move, and I think we can expect to see a lot more retaliatory action from them for reasons that we can understand.
Michael, what were your contacts in Israel's view on where this conflict between Russia and Ukraine's going, and will it end anytime soon?
Well, they're not too pleased with the competence of the Biden administration. So Netanyahu, who's the conservative leader there, is going off to China actually for a meeting in Beijing. But I'm not as pessimistic as Kosher about American public opinion and American political elites on both the Republican and Democrat side continuing to support the Ukrainians. There's an acute fuel shortage in Crimea. The Ukrainians are hitting all of the fuel and ammo dumps behind the lines in Russia. So the hit on the bridge may have been, remember it came after Putin's announcement that he was going to do this grain embargo, suggestion to the Russians living in Ukraine that, guys, you better get out of there pretty soon because we're coming in thunder and an earthquake.
Yeah.
And Steve, finally, I wouldn't underestimate the Turks. The Turks have a big stake, and Vladimir Putin doesn't want to alienate them because he's got barely any friends left, in getting the grain to the Muslim Middle East. The Turks like to see themselves as the big beneficiary of their Arab and Muslim brothers, and I think Vladimir Putin will have trouble continuing this grain embargo.